Mr. Ronnie Remedies is an MPC Metropolitan Planning Commission member. Hey, Mr. Ronnie, welcome back to KEEL.
Hey, good morning, Robert, Aaron.
Morning. MPC met yesterday. Mark Sweeney's contract auto renews July 1. There were some of you trying to get it on the agenda yesterday, and that did not happen. What happened? What went wrong?
Well, we didn't try to necessarily just get it on the agenda yesterday. It was asked to be put on the agenda in March, April, and May. And there's been, I don't know if you call it, wouldn't say it's political posturing. It was more of just a blatant disregard for the law and our parliamentary ways of doing things.
Excuse me, Mr. Ronnie, when you say blatant disregard for procedure for the law, are you referring to Mr. Jackson?
Oh, absolutely, yes. This is, I believe it's the fourth or fifth time that we've requested items be placed on the agenda, and depending on whether he agrees with them or not, he will block them from being placed on the agenda.
But
now,
if you do it in writing 4 weeks out, he can't stop that, right?
Yes, he can, and he did. And apparently there needs to be some sort of accountability. We would hope that the people that were appointed by the commission and the council, they would find quality people with good moral character. They would honor the request of other board members, but apparently that's not the case.
So prior to you said in March and April you've asked this to be on the agenda. So we're not saying you guys forgot about it and just at the last minute said, oh, we got to get this.
Basically, in your mind, according to the rules, the procedures set forth by the MPC, you have followed those in an attempt to get the Sweeney contract on the agenda, on the itinerary at meetings. Am I right?
Absolutely, yes. And we have all of and then the reason why we provide those in writing in the form of an email and copy all board members is to, create that paper trail that if someone looks to shuffle the shell game or whatever you want to call it, that there's evidence of timelines that things were done the way they were supposed to. So, this is not going to stop here. We're exploring all of our options. And, we believe ultimately if this was just blocked from being on the agenda, then I don't believe the contract renewal would be binding and legal at that point.
Pardon me, Ronnie. Explain to everyone why you think Theron Jackson doesn't want this on to be discussed.
There's several different theories. I hate to even to even go down that road. I mean, there's a lot of different theories out there, and namely the large project that will need MPC approval and would certainly need the cooperation of the MPC Executive Director that Mr. Jackson is a large stakeholder in.
We're talking about Cross Bayou, obviously.
We're talking about
That's
Cross
right.
Bayou. So what you are saying is there are rumors that one of the reasons that, well, you tell me what I'm thinking.
No, that's just one theory. A lot of it has to do with ego, just not going to do something because they just don't want to have anyone else to have any say. I hate to sit and speculate on why he chooses to continue to protect Mr. Sweeney. Before it was that there was no problems in Shreveport. There was nothing that the other board members that protected Mr. Sweeney's employment knew of, and then we had well over 100 developers, civil engineers, and all come to LSU, and basically, and it was almost a firing squad of complaints of very specific cases. And
tell us about that. What is Mr. Sweeney doing so wrong?
Well, all of the procedures and the UDC was made to fast track everything and make the system more user friendly while protecting the integrity of the city. But it has come with, and you see anything in government always starts with good intentions. But now there's a pre-meeting that you have to attend, a month in advance. So it's not a 30-day site plan approval. There's 30 days before that, which turns into a 60-day site plan approval. If you don't have enough dots on your paper to represent certain types of landscaping, although you have a legend, they'll send your drawing back and say that you don't have enough dots on your paper And those were some of the very specific things in that meeting that were mentioned that were absolutely ridiculous. That we can't use common sense, we can't make it more user-friendly. It was about the control, and people were just tired of it.
What happens now? The city is moving forward. I was at the meeting Friday. There's a lot of talk about doing away with the MPC, bringing it in-house. How does that play in all this?
Yeah, and how do you, as a member of the MPC, do you still feel compelled to defend that organization?
Well, I'm going to do the job that I felt like I was placed there to do, which is the right thing from an experienced business owner, real estate developer, and until they make that decision, that's beyond my control. Now, I would agree with some of Councilman Bradford's remarks that the city has enough problems of their own. But if you take all of the pleasantries and all of the politically correct speeches out, what it's going back to is to have some accountability for the executive director. That is the root cause of all of these problems.
So at the end of the day, pardon me, Ronnie, at the end of the day, if you or any of the members of the MPC who can't get the Sweeney contract issue on the itinerary up for discussion, then his contract will be renewed, and there's literally nothing you can do.
Absolutely, as long as you're outvoted. Well, you don't even have to be outvoted if it's blocked from being put on the agenda. But this goes way further than this. This is what the democracy is based on, is the procedural, process for everything. And you may not agree with it, but at least allow things to be brought before the board, discussed, let the public have their say-so if it's appropriate, and vote on it and go through the process that's set forth.
Do you have the votes in your mind? Do you have the votes if it could come up to oust Sweeney?
That's he's typically had the 5 votes that were that have protected him so far. So that's doubtful. But who knows? We have one board member that will be up for reappointment at the end of the year. That's a council and a commission joint appointment. So we'll see how that goes. And it's about the council members and the commission members going to their appointees and telling them, hey, listen, we're getting so much feedback from the constituents that elected us. This is the vision that we have for Shreveport and Caddo Parish, and this is the direction we need to go. And we don't need to have an executive director who has his own mission in mind and his own plans for Shreveport. It needs to be a consistent, everybody on the same page, much like Bossier City does.